I never imagined that my daughter's 7th birthday party would end with her collapsed on the floor, struggling to breathe while my own mother stood there laughing. Emma had always been my world, my precious little girl, with severe nut allergies that I guarded against like a hawk. Today was supposed to be perfect. Family gathered around our small Portland apartment, watching Emma's face light up as she opened gifts. My sister Sarah had brought something special in a silver bag, and my mother Margaret seemed genuinely happy for once. Emma reached for that beautifully wrapped present with pure joy, and I felt hopeful that maybe, just maybe, our fractured family could finally heal. Before I continue this story, let me know where you are watching from in the comments below. Please hit that like button if you are a parent like me, because what I am about to share will make you question who you can truly trust around your children. Subscribe if you want to hear more stories about family betrayal and how I fought back. Now let me tell you exactly how my own family tried to hurt my daughter and what I did to make sure they faced justice. Looking back, I should have seen the warning signs about my family dynamics long before Emma's birthday. Sarah, my older sister at 35, had always been the golden child in our household. Growing up, she possessed this uncanny ability to twist situations to make me look like the problem child while she remained innocent in our mother's eyes. Margaret, our mother, consistently took Sarah's side in every disagreement, dismissing my concerns with phrases like, "You are being too sensitive, Chloe," or "Sarah did not mean it that way." When Emma came into my life 7 years ago, the family tension escalated dramatically. As a single mother, I faced constant judgment from both Sarah and Margaret. Sarah would make cutting remarks like, "It is such a shame that Emma does not have a father figure," or "Children really need both parents, do not." You think Margaret would nod along, adding fuel to Sarah's passive-aggressive fire. These comments stung deeply, because I worked incredibly hard to provide Emma with a loving, stable home despite being on my own. The discovery of Emma's severe nut allergy happened when she was 3 years old at her daycare center. A well-meaning teacher had given the children trail mix during snack time, not knowing about Emma's condition. Within minutes, Emma's face swelled up, her breathing became labored, and I received the most terrifying phone call of my life. Rushing to the emergency room, I learned that Emma had anaphylaxis to tree nuts, particularly hazelnuts and almonds. The allergist explained that future exposure could be life-threatening without immediate medical intervention. From that day forward, I became incredibly vigilant about Emma's diet. I read every ingredient label multiple times, contacted restaurants about their cooking practices, and always carried 2 EpiPens wherever we went. Emma learned early about her allergy, becoming remarkably mature about asking adults whether food contained nuts before eating anything. Despite my careful explanations to family members about the severity of Emma's condition, Sarah often rolled her eyes and made comments about helicopter parenting and overprotective mothers. My current life revolved entirely around Emma's well-being and happiness. Working as a freelance graphic designer allowed me the flexibility to be present for school pickup, doctor appointments, and all the little moments that matter. Our apartment might have been small, but I had decorated it with warmth and love, creating a safe haven where Emma could simply be a child. Our daily routine included homework at the kitchen table, cooking dinner together, and reading bedtime stories that transported us to magical worlds far from family drama. Preparing Emma's meals required constant attention to detail. I had developed relationships with local bakeries that understood cross-contamination issues, and I maintained a pantry stocked with safe alternatives to traditional snacks. Emma never complained about her dietary restrictions because I made sure she never felt deprived. Instead, we turned meal preparation into fun activities where she could help measure ingredients and learn about nutrition. Recently, Margaret had been diagnosed with some health issues that seemed to soften her attitude toward me. She started calling more frequently, asking about Emma's school activities, and expressing interest in spending time together. When Emma suggested inviting Grandma and Aunt Sarah to her birthday party, I felt torn between protecting my daughter and giving her the extended family experience she craved. After much internal debate, I decided that maybe this could be an opportunity for healing and new beginnings. Shopping for Emma's birthday decorations and planning the menu required extra careful consideration. I visited 3 different stores to find nut-free alternatives that would still make the party feel special and festive. The local allergen-friendly bakery created a beautiful chocolate cake with strawberry frosting that looked like something from a professional catering company. I spent hours preparing homemade snacks, double-checking every ingredient, and ensuring no cross-contamination could occur. The night before the party, I cleaned our apartment thoroughly and set up decorations in Emma's favorite colors. Pink streamers hung from the ceiling, balloons clustered in corners, and a special birthday banner stretched across the living room wall. Emma helped arrange her stuffed animals as party guests, giggling about which ones would want cake and which ones preferred ice cream. Her excitement was infectious, and I found myself genuinely looking forward to celebrating with family for the first time in years. The morning of Emma's 7th birthday began with our special tradition of heart-shaped pancakes and fresh strawberries. Emma wore her favorite princess dress, a pink confection with sparkles that caught the light as she twirled around the apartment. Despite my nervous energy about hosting family members, I felt optimistic about creating positive memories and perhaps establishing healthier relationships moving forward. Margaret called around noon to confirm that she and Sarah would arrive together at 2 o'clock in the afternoon. Her voice sounded cheerful, and she mentioned looking forward to seeing how much Emma had grown since their last visit. I appreciated the advance notice because it allowed me to complete final preparations and mentally prepare Emma for guests who had been largely absent from her daily life. When the doorbell rang at exactly 2 o'clock, Emma practically bounced with excitement as she ran to greet her grandmother and aunt. Margaret appeared genuinely pleased to see Emma, commenting on how beautiful she looked in her birthday dress and how nicely I had decorated the apartment. Sarah followed behind, carrying an elegant silver gift bag with tissue paper peeking out the top. She seemed unusually sweet toward Emma, which struck me as slightly out of character, but not necessarily suspicious at the time. Sarah kept glancing at her gift bag throughout the initial conversation, almost nervously, which I attributed to excitement about giving Emma something special. Margaret complimented the decorations while making subtle observations about the apartment size and furniture choices, her typical blend of praise mixed with gentle criticism. Emma gave both visitors enthusiastic hugs and immediately began showing them her favorite toys and drawings from school. The party atmosphere felt genuinely warm as we gathered around the dining table for cake and singing. Emma's face glowed with pure happiness as she made a wish and blew out 7 candles with one big breath. Margaret shared stories from my childhood that I had not heard in years, creating a rare bonding moment that made me hopeful about future family gatherings. Even Sarah seemed more relaxed than usual, engaging Emma in conversations about school friends and favorite subjects. After finishing cake and ice cream, Emma began expressing excitement about opening presents. Sarah immediately suggested that Emma open her gift first, before the other packages we had set aside. While this seemed slightly forward, I decided not to make an issue of it since Emma appeared eager to discover what her aunt had brought. Looking back, I should have trusted my instincts about Sarah's insistent timing, but in the moment, I wanted to maintain the peaceful atmosphere we had achieved. Emma carefully removed the tissue paper from the silver bag, revealing a beautiful glass jar filled with homemade cookies that looked professionally decorated. A handwritten note attached to the jar read, "Special recipe just for you, sweetheart, love Aunt Sarah," in Sarah's distinctive handwriting. The cookies appeared golden brown and perfectly shaped with what looked like chocolate chips scattered throughout the surface. Emma immediately took a bite of one cookie, her face lighting up with delight. "Aunt Sarah, these taste amazing. There is something different about the flavor, though. What makes them special?" she asked innocently. Within 30 seconds, I noticed Emma starting to scratch at her throat, and her face began developing a reddish flush that I recognized immediately as the beginning signs of an allergic reaction. My heart stopped as Emma suddenly collapsed on the living room floor, her breathing becoming increasingly labored and wheezy. Training from previous emergencies kicked in automatically as I grabbed my purse and retrieved one of Emma's EpiPens. My hands shook as I administered the injection into her thigh, simultaneously calling 911 while kneeling beside my daughter's small body. "What did you put in those cookies?" I screamed at Sarah, my voice filled with panic and growing suspicion. Sarah stood frozen in place, her face pale and guilty-looking, unable to form coherent words. What happened next shocked me even more than Emma's medical emergency. Margaret began laughing nervously, saying, "Oh, come on, it is not that serious," as my daughter struggled to breathe on the floor. In that moment, watching my family's reaction while my daughter fought for her life, I realized this was not an accident. The combination of Sarah's guilty expression and Margaret's inappropriate laughter told me everything I needed to know about their intentions. My horror doubled as I understood that the people who should have been helping me save Emma were actually responsible for putting her in danger. Paramedics arrived within 8 minutes, though it felt like hours as I held Emma and monitored her breathing. They immediately recognized the severity of her condition and began administering additional medication while preparing her for transport to the nearest hospital. Emma remained conscious, but scared, her small hand gripping mine as medical professionals worked around us with urgent efficiency. At the hospital, doctors confirmed that Emma had experienced severe anaphylaxis triggered by hazelnuts in the cookies. The emergency room physician explained that without the immediate EpiPen injection, Emma's condition could have become life-threatening within minutes. I demanded that the remaining cookies be tested for allergens, and a nurse carefully collected samples for laboratory analysis while documenting the incident for medical records. Margaret and Sarah positioned themselves as concerned family members, expressing shock and dismay about the unexpected accident. Margaret repeatedly stated that accidents happen with children, and no one could have predicted this reaction. Sarah remained unusually quiet, refusing to provide details about her cookie recipe when medical staff asked about ingredients she had used. While Emma underwent observation and treatment, I overheard Sarah making a phone call in the hospital corridor. Her voice carried enough for me to catch fragments like, "Plan did not work as expected," and "Maybe we should have used less." These words sent chills through my body as I began piecing together evidence that this was not an accidental poisoning, but a deliberate attempt to harm my daughter. Hospital security cameras captured Sarah's nervous behavior before presenting the gift footage that would later become crucial evidence. Margaret's defensive attitude and inappropriate emotional responses also seemed suspicious to medical staff who noted their observations in official reports. I started questioning why Sarah had suddenly expressed interest in reconnecting with our family after years of minimal contact. Laboratory results confirmed my worst fears when they revealed that the cookies had been deliberately mixed with hazelnut flour despite being presented as regular chocolate chip cookies. This was not cross-contamination or accidental exposure, but intentional inclusion of ingredients that Sarah knew could harm Emma. The medical evidence provided undeniable proof of malicious intent rather than unfortunate circumstance. My investigative instincts led me to access Sarah's online activities through shared passwords we had established during childhood for family planning purposes. Her recent internet search history revealed disturbing queries like, "How much nuts cause allergic reaction, child?" and symptoms of severe food allergy. These searches had occurred in the weeks leading up to Emma's birthday, proving premeditation and planning. Text message exchanges between Sarah and Margaret provided the most damning evidence of their conspiracy. Sarah had written, "Emma always gets all the attention time she learns what real consequences feel like." Margaret had responded, "Just do not make it too obvious, we want it to look accidental." Reading these messages, I understood that their plan involved teaching Emma a lesson about being spoiled, while making me appear negligent as a parent. When I confronted Sarah and Margaret in the hospital waiting room with this evidence, Sarah finally broke down and admitted her jealousy about Emma receiving all the family love and attention. Margaret attempted to justify their actions by claiming they had only wanted to scare Emma a little and teach her about being grateful, without actually causing serious harm. Their complete lack of understanding about life-threatening allergies was both shocking and infuriating. The confrontation revealed deeper motives related to Margaret's estate planning and inheritance concerns. Margaret had apparently worried that my focus on raising Emma would lead to having more children, which could potentially reduce Sarah's future inheritance. Their twisted logic involved discouraging me from expanding my family by demonstrating how difficult and dangerous parenting could become. I secretly recorded our hospital conversation using my smartphone, capturing their admissions of guilt and explanations of their motivations. Hospital security eventually escorted Sarah and Margaret from the premises after other families complained about the loud argument echoing through the pediatric wing. Emma witnessed none of this confrontation because she was resting in a private room under medical observation. Within a week of Emma's hospitalization, I had consulted with an attorney who specialized in family law and criminal cases involving child endangerment. The lawyer reviewed all my evidence, including medical records, laboratory test results, text messages, recorded conversations, and hospital security footage. She confirmed that we had strong grounds for criminal charges, including attempted murder, child endangerment, and conspiracy to commit harm against a minor. Filing the official police report required detailed documentation of Emma's medical history, the birthday party timeline, and evidence of premeditation by Sarah and Margaret. Detectives interviewed hospital staff, analyzed the cookie samples, and examined digital evidence from phones and computers. The investigation took several weeks, during which Emma and I lived with constant anxiety about potential retaliation or additional threats from family members. Local news outlets picked up the story after arrests were made with headlines like "Family Betrayal Shocks Portland Community" and "Mother Fights Back After Sister Poisons Child." The media attention brought both support and unwanted scrutiny into our private lives, but it also helped other families recognize signs of deliberate food tampering and allergic reaction emergencies. Sarah ultimately received a 5-year prison sentence for attempted murder and child endangerment, while Margaret received 3 years probation, with a permanent restraining order preventing contact with Emma and me. The judge delivered particularly harsh words about the betrayal of family trust and the calculated nature of endangering an innocent child's life for petty jealousies. The 6-month trial process proved emotionally draining for both Emma and me, but it also provided a sense of justice and validation. Emma testified via video conference with support from child advocacy specialists, demonstrating remarkable bravery and maturity throughout the legal proceedings. Community members attended court hearings to show support, and other families shared similar experiences of food allergy sabotage by relatives. Emma initially suffered nightmares about family gatherings and developed anxiety around accepting food from anyone outside our immediate circle of trusted friends. We began working with trauma therapists who specialized in childhood recovery from betrayal by family members. Emma learned coping strategies for managing anxiety while rebuilding her natural trust in safe adults who genuinely cared about her well-being. I joined a support group for parents of children with severe allergies, connecting with other families who understood the constant vigilance required to keep our children safe. Many group members shared stories of relatives who minimized allergy severity or deliberately exposed children to allergens as tests or treatments, helping me realize our experience was not isolated. Emma gradually became an advocate for allergy awareness at her school, helping educate classmates about the seriousness of food allergies and emergency response procedures. Her teacher incorporated allergy safety into classroom discussions, and Emma felt empowered by teaching other children about reading ingredient labels and recognizing allergic reaction symptoms in friends. 2 years later, Emma and I have built a chosen family of close friends who understand our safety requirements and genuinely celebrate Emma's achievements without hidden agendas. We have established new birthday traditions that focus on meaningful relationships rather than biological connections that proved untrustworthy. Emma has grown into a confident, happy child who understands the importance of setting boundaries with people who do not respect her safety. My own healing journey involved learning to trust my instincts about people's intentions and establishing clear boundaries about what behavior I will accept from others. The experience taught me that blood relationships do not guarantee love, respect, or safety, and that protecting my daughter from harmful people is always the right choice regardless of family expectations. Our apartment has become a sanctuary where Emma can simply be a child without worrying about hidden dangers from people who claim to love her. We cook together, read stories, and plan adventures with friends who celebrate our happiness rather than resenting it. The peaceful life we have created proves that sometimes the best families are the ones we choose for ourselves. What would you do if your own family betrayed your child's trust and safety? Have you ever had to cut contact with relatives who put your children at risk? Share your thoughts in the comments below, and please hit that like button if this story resonated with your own experiences protecting your children. Subscribe for more stories about standing up to family manipulation and building healthier relationships. Share this video with other parents who might need encouragement to trust their instincts about people around their children. Thank you for listening to our story, and I hope it helps you remember that your children's safety always comes first, no matter who tries to tell you otherwise. May you find the strength to protect the ones you love and build the family you truly deserve.